I've not got series 1 yet.
It's definitely worth watching. It's it's good, but no, we decided we wouldn't watch it live. We were getting fed up with the adverts. So.
Yeah, that's. And if you watch it on demand from on Sky, they kindly cut all the adverts out for you.
They do, yes. Yeah, and it's only about 45 minutes long instead of an hour. So.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. My son absolutely loves that. So he's watching the current series and keep watching the ones we watch as well.
Yeah. It still makes me wish I'd kept going with Agents Marvel of Shield, Marvel Agents of Shield rather, because I think that didn't start off too good, but I think it got a lot better. But it's into like the 4th season now, so trying to catch up. Actually,
my other son caught up while they were off because he had 2 weeks off for half term, and I think he managed to watch like 4 series in 2 weeks.
So I'm not sure where it's available because it's not on Amazon, is it?
I don't think it is now.
I mean, Netflix used to have Agents of Shield for a long time, so it may still be on Netflix somewhere.
It's definitely on Sky because I think that's where he saw it.
Because Channel 4 had it to start off with, didn't they?
Yes, I think they did. Yeah, so there's all this stuff because I see on like Sky Planet, all these things like 28 episodes available. They downloaded all the stuff.
You need a nice long business trip somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now just get titles related to.
Yeah, that's it. Right.
Actually, what's Luke Cage yet?
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Finally got to the end of Mr. Robot. So
yeah, Luke
I was starting to lose faith in Mr. Robot, and then there was a massive twist at the end. I was like, I've got to watch it now.
I'm still halfway through the first series of that, so it's good.
Yeah, the second season takes some real perseverance because it tends to wander all over the place. But Josh probably told me to stick with it, and I'm kind of glad I did now. So, but yeah, it takes more effort than the first series, I think.
Yeah. Might be one to watch on my own. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it gets very, very surreal.
Yeah. Right. Well, we've no Gary this week, so Richard is filling in once again. Filling in for Gary as Gary's off. I think I know what Gary's doing. He's going buying that new Apple book.
Yeah.
He's just not being allowed out. That's it now.
Yeah, well, that could have been it. Yeah, I think he maybe said some anti-Trump remark on Wednesday, and now he's in Guantanamo Bay.
He's got that orange jumpsuit on. That's it.
Yeah. So I should say properly. So
you'll be pleased to hear I pre-ordered the Apple book. So.
Well, I'll be asking you about that in a moment. So anyway, good evening, Jason, and good evening, Richard. Speed back to the show again.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, it's good to have Richard on again. Yeah, it was good last week. So yeah, welcome back, Richard.
Good evening. Hello again. Yeah, great fun.
So we've got, it's not a huge amount of news this week, but we have got quite a few things that I know you've been playing with, Richard. There's a few things that I've been playing with, and there is some build news and some other Microsoft news. But Jason, being the way he is now, of course, the top story this week is Apple have produced a new £350. Is it £350 or $50 book?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive because all it is just the history of their design and evolution of their products.
Yeah, but of course you've pre-ordered yours, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna use it to make the Surface Studio slightly higher. I'm gonna pop that. Yeah.
The most expensive screen prop ever.
So at what point do we start making jokes about the battery life for this new book called?
Yeah. But I tell you what, there's lots of apps for it, so it's good.
But if you can't open it, it's because you're holding it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yes. Just shows you though, I mean, I'm sure it'll sell as well. There'll be all the tech websites will be reviewing it.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure. But I guess in some ways, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the price. I think it's definitely overpriced. But if you are a design student, I can see that it would have some level of appeal. But yeah, it does seem a bit ridiculous for a basic book of pictures.
Yes, I mean certainly. I mean, if you're a design student, then I'd say that Apple would perhaps merit a chapter maybe in a book of great industrial designs of the 20th and 21st century, not an entire £300 book. That seems a bit egotistical, perhaps.
Yeah. But us Apple people will buy anything.
Yeah, they will. And of course, Microsoft could release their own book of products that they've launched and discontinued over the last 20 years. That would be a bigger book, though.
Yeah. The only problem is, though, if Microsoft released a book on Surface, the battery life would be really poor.
Yes, you'd have some problems charging it. It would be
Yeah.
a Surface book.
It would. Yes, it would.
And talking of products that Microsoft discontinued, yesterday, we recorded Tuesday, so Monday, was the 10th anniversary of the launch of the Zune, the original brown Zune 30.
Oh, blimey. And then you find that article of me predicting its demise.
Yeah, I thought I'd highlight that. So anybody who wants to follow my Twitter feed, and in fact I'll try and remember to include a link in the show notes, but I found an article written by Jason about the demise, he suspected the demise of the Zoom, but that was, what, 2011?
Yeah, it's 2011, I think. But although rereading it, I think it was more about the brand rather than the actual product itself. But because that was with
right on both counts.
Yes, yeah, that was with the Mango update coming out, and because originally with the original kind of Windows Phone 7, it was called Zune. Because I remember at the announcement, them saying every Windows phone will be a Zune. But then as they evolved things, it became kind of Xbox Music, and obviously now kind of Groove Music. So.
It's funny. I mean, I did tweet a couple of links out today about it, and I got a huge amount of response. So there's still a lot of love in the community for the Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, I never had one. I know you did it. It does, it was a great product, and it was kind of that initial kind of launch of Windows Phone in a way, because Windows Phone borrowed a lot from that interface, and that interface itself borrowed a lot from Windows Media Center. So it was the real kind of real evolution of the Metro brand. I remember they were sending out pictures of all the different Metro symbols and everything that they analysed to get the font just right. And there was so much love and attention put into Windows Phone. It's just it's just a shame it's got to where it is, really, or not got to where it is, where we wanted it to be.
Yeah, and of course so I think I had the 2007. I got the brown, black, but the original Zune, which is that branded Zune 30. I got my wife a Zune 8, the 8 gig one, little pink one, and I had the Zune HD, and I did really like that Zune HD. It's only probably 3 or 4 years ago I stopped using it. Like you said, that had the scrolling interface very much like. Well, it didn't have live tiles. It did have that sort of Metro UI on the Zune HD that really was the design style that Zune then took to Windows Phone and into Windows 10. Really, it's all like you said, you can trace it all the way.
Yeah, and it had some real, some big features in it. In that, if you think about how kind of mobile internet's evolved, and it seemed like a really great idea at the time, but now we just take for granted that our mobile phones will download, podcasts and whatnot overnight. Whereas, with the original launch of Windows Phone, it had that wireless connectivity with the Zune software, where the Zune software would download your podcast, and then while your Windows Phone was on charge overnight, it would connect wirelessly and download the podcast from a PC of all things. Whereas now, you just, I've got mine. It's my Windows Phone and now my iPhone just checks overnight and downloads the latest one, and it's just there to play in the morning.
Yeah, I used to dock mine every night on the Zune HD dock, and like you said, it would download the podcast.
Yes, yeah.
And funny, I remember we used to talk about it and say, if only we could have a SIM card into this Zune HD, this would be a great phone.
Yeah, because now the music service being shut down. There was we talked about the other week, didn't we? About all the other months where it was now a case of quickly go and get your music if you purchase any and download it as MP3s, because all the service was getting shut down. Certainly sometimes things seem to just change so quickly. But I think the problem was by the time Microsoft got anywhere near to realising where they'd gone wrong, iPhone had just become this juggernaut, and then Android just came along and copied it and overtook it completely.
Yeah, I really think when 2006, 2007, when I got a Zoom, that's when the iPhone launched. So, so next year we're coming up to the 10th anniversary of the iPhone, then, aren't we?
Yes, yeah.
And Android, I guess that was around 2007 it first started. I don't know, Rich, were you an iPod guy or the MP3 player?
Well, I've got to confess, actually, I've still got a 30 gig iPod, which I use in the car all the time. I must admit, though, when a Zune came out, and I was using iTunes on Windows, I did look enviously at the Zoom software because that seemed to work much better than iTunes does and even does now, really. So I think in many ways Microsoft were ahead of the game, but as you say, the juggernaut just rolled into town and rolled over them. So yeah, it's quite sad really it turned out the way it did. But so I'm afraid iPod is the way I've been going.
Yeah, and in fact, when you look back, the very first version of the Zoom software was actually just a rebranded Windows media player with different sort of images behind the program, and it was awful, really. And then later they brought out that Zoom software, which actually morphed into the Windows Phone connector software.
Yes, whereas the very first version of iTunes on Windows was a big part of a word I can't mention.
Yeah, sure is, isn't it?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I've often said about iTunes on Windows that we used to use it as a way of slowing down desktops in order to test software on the load. It really was that bad. It's perhaps less bad now, but certainly in the past it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was only called an Excel of music.
Yeah. And talking about it, the Xbox is 15 years old today.
It is, yes, isn't it? Now I guess that version does seem 15 years ago. I still remember when we got one here 15 years ago. Did it come out in the UK at the same time, or was it a slight delay? I'm trying to remember now.
I thought there was a slight delay. I know it's quite hard to get going of, yeah.
Yeah, I do remember getting one, so it was probably about that time. And
did you guys do the mod to run the Xbox Media Center on it?
No, I never did because I always had a PC. I used PC for that stuff. But of course, that's where MB, which no, sorry, what we're talking about. So Kodi, that's where Kodi became, from XBMC, and XBMC was on the original Xbox as a mod where you put the CD in, or I think you opened the CD or a DVD.
Yeah, I did do the mod myself, and it went really well. Obviously, it's not gone so well for me of late with other mods I've tried, but it did go well then.
Yeah, I mean that's really started off that sort of modular open source media center type application.
Yeah, it's just sad you can't do that now with the the Xbox One and and the 360 and the PlayStation, because even the PS3 was allowing you to install other OSs, but now it's really been locked down, I think.
Yeah.
You used to be able to put Linux on it, didn't you?
Yeah. Did you have the DVD add-in? It was a little dongle, wasn't it? It was a little dongle, so you could use it as a DVD player.
You know what? I think I did.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go in my loft now and try and find it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was because you got the dongle, which was an IR receiver for the remote, if I remember rightly. And that's what enabled the DVD player back. Because I don't think it was built in by default, was it?
No, I don't think it could play, but the hardware was there. It was just not enabled.
Yeah, I'm sure you have to buy that DVD kit for it. Yeah, I remember my favourite game was always Rally Sport. I used to like that, but I think most people play Halo on it.
It's funny how things have kind of gone kind of 360 degrees, if you pardon the pun. But so partly for the fact that Microsoft chose to back HD DVD, but the reason why they always said once HD DVD had failed. They always said that the reason why they didn't put a Blu-ray player with the Xbox 360 was because they felt that digital video was the future. And now we've got the exact reverse, which is we've got the Xbox One S, which has got the the HDR 4K Blu-ray player, and Sony have chosen not to do that with the PlayStation 4 Pro because they're saying people will stream 4K content digitally. So it's funny, really, how things kind of turn around.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And the Xbox has become Microsoft's essentially only consumer device left, really, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everyone kind of holds up as their success story, and I'm not sure it's necessarily the success story that we kind of look fondly and think of it as. But I mean, they certainly completely failed with the Xbox One launch. PlayStation just walked all over them, and in fact did for good 12 months of sales. The PlayStation 4 was just completely whitewashed them, and I've got many friends that were really kind of hardcore Xbox gamers that switched to PlayStation 4 because of that launch.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, and now I think it's just starting to sort of catch up now, isn't it? And start to sell. It took a long while to get that messaging again right.
Yeah, and I wonder if that is maybe the inclusion of the 4K disk drive, or or whether or not it's the gaming and content is kind of now managed to surpass it. I don't know. It does seem to have taken a kind of reversal. I don't know if they'll sustain that over Christmas. It'll be interesting to see.
And breaking news from 2006, or 2000, no, whatever, Xbox launched 15 years ago, 2001, was it?
Yes, yeah.
So my maths failing me there. The Xbox DVD movie playback kit cost $15.98 on Amazon.
Wow.
And it was a little dongle that plugged in the front that was an IR receiver along with the remote, so that's what you needed to play DVDs on it.
Yeah, I think that I can't really cross my mind that, but I suspect didn't Microsoft get quite a bit of stick the fact that we're launching this gaming console that was built on top of DirectX?
Yeah, that's right. Of course, it was. I mean, that's where the name comes from, isn't it? Direct Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, at the time it was real kind of the Sony Sega system, and PlayStation 1 was really the main consoles, wasn't it? And the Nintendo obviously. But I mean, the one thing that I found, because I was originally PlayStation, and it wasn't until I won the Xbox 360 and realised just how much better Xbox Live was. So it wasn't so much for me that the console was better, it was just that the online experience was so much better, because a bit like a lot of Microsoft products where they added in the internet as an afterthought, kind of the PlayStation network just didn't exist really. Microsoft really kind of caught we talk about them always missing the curve, but I think they really caught that one just at the right time.
Yeah, I think it was a big. It was a lot better than what generation was it? So PS2, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean the PS2 didn't initially even have any internet connectivity in it at all.
No, not at all.
So did the original Xbox then have a RJ45 on it?
Yes, I think it had it, and
yeah,
yeah.
I can't really remember doing it, but yeah, it must have done.
Because I think all the people with the 3 or 4 less than 4-letter Xbox Live game attack, they're kind of the originals.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that black Xbox, and it's funny, isn't it? It's just 15 years ago, and it's now a retro gaming console.
Yes. Yeah. But then also I thought, well, actually 15 years, and there's only really been, let's say, I know there's been evolutions of each one, but really there's only been 3 consoles, and that's quite a lot of time. And you think, when we're used to now, whether or not you buy them and upgrade them or not, but we're used to this annual cycle of new products. There's a new iPad every year, there's a new iPhone every year, there's a new Android device to continue rolling out, but essentially, there seem to be, take Samsung as an example, they have their major release every year, and it's so it's always quite amazing to think that there have only been 3 actual big Xbox releases, and the same with PlayStation really.
But do you think this, the way Microsoft and Sony are going with their, we've got the Xbox One S, we've got the PlayStation 4, whatever the new one of those is called, with not backwards compatibility, but saying if you buy the new one, your existing games will work, but will look better. Do you think that's perhaps a move towards that more faster release cycle to try and get people buying hardware faster?
Yeah, I think in some ways, for me, my view is that technology and hardware has kind of reached quite a peak in terms of. So I think what we'll see is that the Xbox and PlayStation will evolve over time, and there will probably be a cut-off point at which point they'll say, right, the original Xbox One won't receive dashboard updates anymore, but we'll continue to play games, and then maybe games that get released aren't necessarily directly compatible with it, or so I think there's just going to be this gradual hardware refresh every year, but I also think in some ways that consoles, their days are kind of numbered, and I think I can see the Xbox One becoming this Azure platform as game streaming improves, and you won't need this big giant Xbox sitting underneath the TV that you just stream the games.
Yeah, that's it. Perhaps we'll get to where the device is just just like a streamer. I mean, what was the box called a few years ago that enabled it to work on live? Remember that?
Yeah, which Sony actually bought, and I think that's where that technology is what's been involved into the PlayStation Live, is it, or PlayStation Now? because they've got a game streaming service which runs on PC, and so I think that they've basically evolved that technology into that. So I think that's the way it's potentially going to go. But yeah, in terms of Xbox and PlayStation, I just think there will just be this gradual evolution of the product each year, particularly since the Xbox One essentially runs Windows 10, so that's just going to evolve over time. So I think there will be this kind of slow kind of deprecation of previous versions of the Xbox, but by then I think most people probably would refresh their Xboxes at least maybe every 2-3 years anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other question, and it's a big question mark around Xbox itself, is as Microsoft drives more towards the enterprise and away from consumer, I wonder if they'll spin the Xbox off to a separate company or remove it from the Microsoft world entirely at some point, because, I mean, certainly you can see some hardware consolidation happening with Nintendo now releasing franchises like Mario on iOS. So one does wonder how long Microsoft will keep in that hardware game for.
Yes, yeah, it will be interesting. And also, I mean, there's every possibility that the Xbox platform could just be wrapped into Windows 10, and you just buy a PC and it happens to run the Xbox software.
I think that's an interesting idea, and I think that they're going to be bringing them together a lot more. And whether the Xbox will be the gaming side of it, and we'll just see more and more references to Windows 10 on those devices. I think we will. I think we're going to see these merge together.
Well, if so, I mean, I did hope that if that happens, that on the Windows Store, when you choose to download Xbox games on your Windows 10 machine, they do fix that whole hardware compatibility issue where you can pay for a very expensive game and it download and you find it won't open, which has happened to me quite recently.
Yes, yeah, that's something that I've mentioned, which is they need somewhere. I mean, we had with Windows 7, we had this kind of hardware performance score, and so surely you could take something like that and then grade those games and say, no, your PC is currently registered as a Mark 6.5, and you need to be a Mark 8 to run this game, or whatever it might be. But yeah, I think essentially, really, the Xbox has become a kind of packaged PC, really, hasn't it? It's as an ex-PC gamer, I remember always buying, having to upgrade, even RAM with the lowest latency, and buying the next graphics card and the next processor, and was it compatible with my existing motherboard, and permanently chasing kind of hardware and benchmark specs to get each game to run. And so I think in some ways the Xbox has become that, except it's a pre-packaged solution. And I'm a bit skeptical as to whether or not that is the right way to go, because that is the one thing that transformed me from a PC game into a console gamer, was that you could literally walk in, buy a game, and take it home, and it would run, at the best possible performance. There wasn't all these settings about turning off draw distances and stuff. You just knew it would work. And so I think we are starting to kind of get into that hybrid between a gaming console and a full-on customizable PC.
And yeah, I mean, if they do get to the point of creating a gaming or Xbox services, I guess it's not a massive leap of the imagination to imagine Microsoft spinning up Azure Xbox consoles in the cloud and then streaming them down, as you suggest. And of course, if only they had some form of Xbox streaming device or something.
Yes. Oh, if only. Yeah, I mean, I do wonder. I'd love to see some figures about the penetration of things like Groove and Xbox. Microsoft Films and TV in terms of take up. But also, I guess another possibility is that, like Surface, that sorry, step back. So, like Windows Phone had a preset list of hardware that OEMs had to stick to. Why not actually open up the Xbox brand to other OEMs, as long as they stick to reference designs? What's to stop them building, third-party Xboxes?
Yes, I've often thought about that, and I think Microsoft has probably thought that a few times. And could that be that you can buy a PC that's Xbox compatible? Maybe you buy a gaming laptop that's got the Xbox branding on there because it's compatible with Xbox games, with that sort of minimum spec, as you said.
Maybe at a corporate level, they're still scarred by the whole certified for Vista thing, which they did on laptops, which
Yes.
Yeah,
There was two of those,
512.
wasn't there?
Yeah,
Wasn't it
512 very well.
Was it verified for Vista and certified? One supported the glass effects and one didn't.
it
Yeah,
meant one,
that's right.
it meant one was going to run badly and one was going to run really badly.
Yes.
That's my experience.
Yeah, I think I'm sure it was less than a gig of RAM. It was 512 meg that it was the basic specs, and for Vista it ran awful. I mean, you better with Windows 10 than you would be on Vista, and it's probably a bit better. But I remember PC World selling these machines with these terrible specs, and then it got a bad reputation.
Yes, absolutely. See, I think I stand alone this year. I still have a fondness for Vista. I kind of got on okay with it, and funny enough, that was the operating system that got me into Windows Media Center, which got me onto this podcast today. So
Yeah,
I can't be too harsh to it.
well, I was out at the CS launch. I really liked it. It's just
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing wrong with Vista at all. I think it's as you say, it was put onto machines that shouldn't really have been trying to run it, and that was the interesting because Microsoft had to re-architect it. I mean, Windows XP was from a different age. They had to redo all the internals, and that was Vista. So I think you're right. It got a very bad rep.
Yeah, and it also it was oddly blamed for lots of different things. When I remember the job I was in at the time, and one of the senior managers had got a brand new laptop, and he was complaining, endlessly about Vista, about how horrible it was, and how he couldn't get used to the interface, and he couldn't find anything. And then I remember sitting next to him and chatting about it, and actually what he meant was he'd got Office 2007 with the ribbon, and it was actually that, but to his perception, that was Vista that had broken his Office, that he couldn't figure out where everything was. But in actual fact, Vista wasn't his problem at all. It was just Office 2007.
Yeah, I experienced exactly the same thing. People often get those confused together, and the ribbon was such a change. But not to go too much for tangent, but I'm sure we'll. Well, when was Vista launched then? That's the question. Was that 2007?
I think it was around that, yes.
So we'll talk about that next year when it comes to the anniversary of Vista. But it had initial problems, and there was a lot of changes in it. And I think the single biggest thing was device drivers, that they changed the device driver model, and none of the OEMs really played ball for the first year at least.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they took the print drivers out of the kernel, which from a security standpoint is a really clever idea. They took the graphics drivers out of the kernel, which meant that when your graphics card crashed, or sorry, your graphics driver crashed, it didn't bring down the whole operating system. So yeah, there was plenty of things in there that made Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows 10 what they are. But yeah, just at the time the whole thing was a mess. I mean, it took them 4 or 5 years to develop the thing in the end. And I remember being on the beta program and a lot of the people on the forums and stuff all going, please, we need one more release candidate, we need one more beta, it's just not ready. And I think it was a year, wasn't it, before we got. I think it was a case that as long as you kept patching it kind of got better over time. But
yeah,
initially it was. I remember getting the USB patch that meant the tuners didn't disappear when the PC woke up. USB device actually came out of sleep because all the Hawkbridge tuners were actually, although they were plugged into PCI, they were basically USB devices. So yeah, I remember all those missed recordings because the PC had woken up and couldn't find any tuners.
Yeah, and then explain to your family why the recording didn't work.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, those were the days.
They were. Oh dear, fondness.
Yeah.
Just trying to see if I can find release date. 22nd of Feb 2006 was February CTP.
Well, I'm sure I was there, so it would have been CES 2007, I would have thought.
Yeah, announcement release date was pre-processed January 2007.
I could probably check on TDL actually, because I would do the podcast from at the Vista launch, because I think was that when I saw Bill Gates. I think it would have been.
Yeah, it looks like January 2007, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been there. CES January 2007 was Yeah, I'm sure. I was there anyway. So
You were there.
I was there. Those are the things, and of course, one for Gary really, but that introduced the Vista Media Center design language, which kind of became XAML and what we know today in the UWP app. So there's still that lineages all the way back to Vista days.
Was it Vista that also gave us the Media Center extenders as well? I think they came with Vista, didn't they?
Yes, you're right. There was one thing that worked with XP before. I can't remember, but yeah, they were.
And they were great. I mean, they were really good. I mean, a bit slow, but they were really good, those extenders. I miss them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had the D-Link. In fact, I've still probably got it, and I'm probably the only person in the UK that ever had the HP one, because they never even launched those over here.
Yeah.
I had the 3 Linksys ones, yeah, and they were really good.
I still lament the fact we never got it. I remember at CES when they launched, what we'd been waiting for was Media Center Embedded Edition, an actual true set-top box, and I don't think they ever came to market, did they?
There was 1 or 2 very small manufacturers that did it, and yes, I went to the to a one-on-one meeting with Microsoft, and they showed me all these embedded devices, and there was ones built into TVs and all sorts, and I think that would have been that was Windows 7 launch time.
Yes, it was.
I saw them.
I remember you talking about the fact that Windows 7 Embedded had been announced that Media Center would be included. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also saw the the Toshiba DVD player that had Windows Media Center built into it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's funny, you see, when these consumer products, they kind of do come and go, and even they get announced and then don't actually arrive.
Yes. Somewhere.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Along with the Atari ET game.
Yep, they're all in there.
Yeah, Surface Mini, Xbox Media Streaming Stick.
Korea, yep.
Korea, yeah. Yeah, it's funny as now these things, but you're right. 15 years of Xbox, and it's certainly become a brand, doesn't it? That everybody knows, and you can always tell. It's become a consumer brand that everybody knows, because my kids have got a Monopoly game that's around brands. It's got like Nike on there, and Coca-Cola, and Xbox is one of the brands. So not Microsoft, but Xbox.
And it's good to see that as well as keyboards and mice, Microsoft can stick at hardware for a period of time. Something at least.
Yeah, not ditch it after a couple of years. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's right.
Actually, going back to Richard's point, there's probably a landfill site with all those Xbox streaming devices as well.
Yeah. You can almost hear that truck thing as it backs up.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere at Microsoft they
actually wouldn't be beeping, it would be the achievement unlocked.
Yeah, but somewhere at Microsoft they must have a room of prototypes that never were. They must exist somewhere.
I know Panos tweeted, hasn't he, that he uses a Surface Mini. I don't know if he still does, but it was a while ago he tweeted that he was using it and kind of wondered about what might have been.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? So we'll celebrate the Vista launch with its anniversary next year with the full recognition it deserves. Looking forward to what we're doing now with Windows. We did get a new build last week, the 14965. Have you given that a try?
It's actually downloading now.
It's downloading now.
Yeah, it is.
Don't tell Jason, because he's not the bandwidth to download at the same time.
Yeah, they put a bandwidth cap on at work as well now, so I can't even download it there.
Oh, you need to get BT need to get their act together, don't they, for you? But that's not going to happen overnight. Yeah.
No, I did manage to get our village into the top 4 though. With there was the local broadband council and broadband campaign did wanted people to do surveys. I managed to get our village into the top 4 of respondents, so I was quite pleased with that.
Oh, that's good, but that doesn't mean.
No, it doesn't mean anything. Right?
No, it just means that. But they've got to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, I guess.
Some point.
So what's new, Ian?
So actually, this build actually had some features in it. Let me bring up my notes. So this is 14965. For this has new features on the PC side. On the mobile side, it has the shortest release notes ever. There was absolutely nothing changed in the on the mobile side of it. I think the Bluetooth screen was changed slightly, but it probably was the least amount of changes I've seen. And I don't know whether this is a bit of a trend I've noticed with the builds recently, is that the mobile are not getting anything new unless it's a thing that exists in both platforms, which is, I suppose, is not surprising. But yeah, they're not introducing any new features on the phone side of things, and it picks up the changes from the PC, but that's it really. They've got a nice little virtual trackpad. I don't know if you've ever tried connecting your tablet up to a second display, and of course if you extend the display and you're just using the tablet, there's no way of getting your finger across to the second display.
Yes, yeah.
Which is a bit frustrating. So you can get the screen up there, but you can't do anything with it unless you connect a mouse. So they've added a virtual keyboard, a virtual trackpad, which works on any device. It doesn't have to be a tablet. You can just enable it where you enable the on-screen keyboard and language things and date time, down in the system tray. Works quite well actually. Quite nice little thing there. So just put it straight on there. So I think that's a nice little change.
Yeah, I really like the look of that feature. I think it's a really clever idea because, like, using the Surface, if you cast it to the Xbox or whatever, and you haven't got the keyboard attached, you're kind of stuck into the controlling that second screen. But yeah, I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea that, because you've already got the on-screen keyboard. Now you've got, maybe they can somehow combine those together as well in a little virtual keyboard. But yeah, I quite like that. The other thing that they've done is added in the sticky notes language options for the auto detection of actions. So I don't know if you remember, we talked about this last year with sticky notes, or when the ink feature was this year, when the ink feature was introduced in the anniversary edition. If you write Tuesday in pen on a sticky note, if you're in US English, it would create that into a link which you could click on, and it will create a schedule or a URL or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that now works in English, which is quite good. So they've done quite a bit of extra language support. Basically beefed up sticky notes and Cortana with extra language support. So I think it does time recognition, address recognition, phone numbers, URLs, time dates, and that kind of thing. Stocks as well. So it's called Insights on sticky notes, but anyway, it works now. So previously I had my Surface set to US English so I could test this, but put it back now. And what else was in there? There was a couple of minor changes to recently used apps in the, when you bring up Windows Ink and it has the little panel with your recent used apps. I think there's now 6 instead of 4. It's 4, is it currently? Let me just check. Yeah, there's 4 or 5 on, and then now you've got 6, so there's a bit more on there. So a few bits and pieces like that they've updated. Quite a lot of fixes as well. So quite a good build actually, I've found. Quite good on mobile for stability as well. It's been pretty stable. I was getting random reboots with the previous build, but not on this one. So yeah, not a bad build, and we'll probably get another one this week, I guess.
Yeah, Donna's been quite quiet on that one, hasn't she? She keeps saying, none today, because this is the main bug bash version, isn't it, or build? So yeah, I wonder actually if we will get another one this week. I wonder if it'll be next week once they've had a chance to incorporate all that feedback. But then it's only Tuesday, and I've been wrong before.
No, we're always spot on with our appeal.
Yeah.
Only Gary gets them wrong, and because he's not here to defend himself. So I don't know. What do you think though about this trend with mobile? That's just nothing new coming down to the mobile apart from the PC changes.
Ooh, do you want me to comment on that? Why we can switch to iPhone?
Yeah. Well, is that again once again prove why you were right to switch?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, the one thing that they have talked about that hasn't really been announced yet is that they are going to do this kind of lots of improvements to Continuum in terms of being able to have a different start menu and being able to have actual apps running in a window. So I'm guessing that will come into builds at some point. But I think in some ways I do wonder, because Windows Phone, there's nothing really wrong with it. I mean, what would you necessarily want to add?
That's true.
Windows 10 mobile.
It's true in so much as I'm not quite sure, but they keep seeming to find nice interface tweaks for the PC side, and they've got the creators update, and we're expecting to see more stuff like it with new people things. And so maybe we'll see some of those. Those come down to phone. It just seems to me the impression is that there's a definite this creators update is really about PC and not about mobile at all, which is the opposite way to it was being described last year or early on this year.
Yeah, it's so difficult to think about where they're going to go because unless they really are. I mean, we've seen devices from other OEMs get launched, but until we really know what's going to happen with the Surface Phone, I mean, I saw Next Gen Reader were tweeting and saying that they've put their plans for, because they relaunched their app as a UWP for Windows 10, and I thought the Windows 10 mobile app was out, but they've said they're now putting their plans on hold for the mobile version of the app. On hold, which is interesting given that my understanding is you don't need to do very much to make a mobile app and using a UWP, but if developers are really starting to look at the platform and especially big supporters of Windows Phone and Windows 10 mobile like Next Gen Reader, if they're starting to put things on hold, then I think it really does say a lot about the platform and where it's going.
Yeah, I mean certainly. I mean, while you can have the core app working across platform, then you've got issues around scaling, and of course you've got testing and validation to do as well, on those different platforms. So I must admit, we stopped doing Windows app in my company because again, it was just not worth the effort to do that additional testing. Even though in theory it should be cross-platform, there was always a bit more you had to do. So we kind of rolled that back. But I mean, as for the new builds of Windows 10, I guess there's only a finite number of ways that Microsoft couldn't ruin the Windows experience on the phone. I guess what live tiles being turned off next, that's perhaps the last unique Windows Phone experience left, isn't it?
Well, so mobile, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just quite sad about how Windows Phone has gone because it had so many great features. We were mentioning the Vista and the interface and the pivot tables experience, and that's now all gone. So really, Windows Phone 10, there's not much of a differentiation left. So I just wonder what they're going to cut next from that platform.
Yeah, I mean the live tiles are one of the things that still makes it unique. I think there's still a lot of kind of Metro design language in there, and I must admit I do miss it. Using an iPhone, it's great. I've got all the features that I kind of missed, and that's all lovely. But there are still elements of Windows 10 mobile that I kind of miss, and I keep looking for the back button more than anything. I think that's the biggest frustration, which I know Android has.
And I mean, absolutely, because with Microsoft and Metro, or the modern design language, Microsoft did make a big effort to encourage app designers to follow standards. So you really notice that in the Android or iOS world, where it is a little bit like the Wild West out there, with the apps all working different ways. Whereas with Windows Phone, as you say, you knew they were all going to work in a certain way, the preferences would be in a certain place, and it was a really consistent, nice, easy to use environment. And you do really notice that that's not there with iOS.
Yeah.
Now, talking of mobile apps and standards, do you notice that the Groove Music update was updated for iOS and Android? So, Jason, I guess you've given this a try.
Yes. I mean, I don't really tend to go into the Groove Music app, only because, as I said before, I don't really listen to a lot of music on my phone. I tend to listen to music at home on the Sonos and whatnot. So yeah, no, I've not really checked it out.
There's not a huge amount of changes. The main one is some of the recommendation playlists, the recommended playlists and sort of themes and genres kind of thing that was in Windows 10 Mobile already has made its way onto the iOS and Android versions. There's still no My Groove feature, which is actually the one unique feature that I liked with Groove over other music players, and that's still only Windows. So I'd like to see that come across. But the problem is when you run with Android, is the Google Music app is actually quite good. So, and it's quite good at playlists and things. So you then think, well, what's the point of having it in Groove? I might as well just upload them to Google Play. And I've actually got both synced up, so I've got all my content on both systems. But if it came down to a subscription, which one would you choose? And I guess it depends on where you listen to music to the most. But I tend to listen to most of my music in the car or on Sonos, and Google Music is pretty good for that. So it makes more sense to go with Google Music. But it's good to see that we're going cross-platform, because yeah, if they didn't, then it would be a worthless system, really, wouldn't it? A worthless platform if there's only if it's limited to just Windows.
Yes, yeah.
I did see someone say today that Microsoft should do a version of Edge for iOS and Android. What do you think?
That'd be great.
I'd like to see that, definitely.
Yeah, I'm using Edge a lot now in Windows 10, because certainly with the anniversary update, it's definitely got a lot more usable, and it's a great browser. I think actually, I've been quite pleasantly surprised with how stable and reliable it is, and how fast it is, and also the rendering of fonts just looks lovely on a high DPI screen.
Yeah, I think I would probably, because I use Edge on everything apart from a phone. Then yeah, I'd use it on Android. If it syncs up my favorites and reading lists and everything else, yeah, I'd use that. I don't really have any preference. I don't use Chrome at all on PC anymore, so yeah, I would use it. So that would be another thing for Microsoft to keep me in their ecosystem. So doing it for iOS, I guess, is a bit harder because you can't integrate in the same way, but you can get Chrome on iOS, so I don't see why I couldn't get Edge. And same goes on Android. Yeah, you can even have it as your default browser, and I guess that also then would fit in with all those Microsoft services and bringing them into one, almost Microsoft branded Android device.
Yeah.
In fact, my son is looking for a new phone for Christmas, and he's looking at Android, and he was playing around with phones in the phone shop, and he found one. He said, "Look at this! It's all Microsoft," because he likes the Microsoft stuff. And I forget which one. It's probably a Samsung. And he opened the folder up, and all the icons were in there, but they're pre-installed and pre-configured. And that was a bit of a plus for him, that the Office was on there, and Groove and everything else, and OneDrive, which stores all his stuff in OneDrive. So it was good. Plus that all that was in there.
Yeah, because I would switch back to Groove in a heartbeat, but Spotify is such good value for money. I mean, £15 for 6 users is just, you can't beat that.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A couple of the stories we've got to finish off. I don't know if we talked about this last week. I don't think we did. Did we talk about the new firmware update for the Surface? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't know. I think it came out kind of unexpected the day after. I think actually, sorry, we did mention it, but there weren't any release notes.
That's right, yeah. So the release notes were the same as last month's release notes.
Yes, yeah.
I thought, Jason, on Twitter, you were particularly positive about this release, actually.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Actually, I think I've got an odd response back from Rod Trent on Twitter. He said it was a fix for the fake fix. Where was it? I'm just trying to find it now.
Well, while you find that out, Microsoft said that it was a fix for the what they call fuel gauge issue, where the battery isn't reporting back to Windows the correct charge levels, which was the fix in the August update, which did fix the issues with the simple batteries that people were having. This fix has the exact same release notes with the exact same phrasing. But as far as I've seen, it is actually not the same fix. It's to fix perhaps other issues wrapped up in this same thing that perhaps the symptoms are the same. And some other scenarios that weren't caught by the August update have been fixed in this one. So as far as I'm aware, it's a separate update, an additional update, which is probably just an improved version of the first fix. Perhaps that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah. So Rod Trent had tweeted a link to a story about the November Surface Pro 3 firmware finally fixes long-standing battery issues, which I retweeted and said I thought the August update did that. How are we supposed to believe this one is the one? And then Rod responded back with August update only changed it to read inaccurately, read full when it wasn't. So I said, so is it a fix for the fix then? Was wondering if this was aimed at LGC batteries rather than the previous Simplo fix. And all you just treated back, it's a fix for a fake fix.
Yeah.
So was the previous fix that we got just to change the reporting values rather than actually being a true fix?
I don't think so, because it actually did fix things, the August one, and yours did, didn't it?
Yes, actually, one thing I will do actually is I'll run a battery report and actually see, because I think after this fix, I think I saw a slight improvement. Because it didn't, the previous fix, things didn't necessarily improve as much as I was kind of expecting. So my full charge capacity is now 39421 compared to design capacity of 42157, but that is a jump. So after the fix came out in August, which was the end of August, so I was down as low as 10886, and I recovered to around the 3738 mark. But now I'm back into the 39. So yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it would just wouldn't it be nice if the Surface team just actually spoke to us?
It would be nice, yeah. I mean, to put the same release notes exactly word for word, at best it's confusing, at worst it's a bit dishonest, isn't it? But yeah, but better if they just explain that, a further improvement to battery reporting, built on the August update or something like that.
Maybe that's why Gary's not come back. He asked the question of Microsoft what was it at the MVP, and they've locked him in the obsolete hardware room.
He's locked in there with only an Apple book for company. Ultimate torture. Yeah, it's just a bit odd. I mean, all along there hasn't been a great deal of clarity with this. And on the one hand, Microsoft are getting the plaudits about the Surface Studio, and on the other hand, they've got Surface Pro 3 owners in the forums in their hundreds, I think, certainly in the hundreds on the pages, with devices with no battery capacity.
It's terrible PR. Terrible PR.
Yeah. I mean, they have actually refunded some people recently with if they charge to have it, if they charge to fix your device.
Yes, yeah, and I think because Mary Jo Fowler was asking if I'd been contacted, but I never actually paid for that support. But yeah, I think I mean, it is good that they are doing the right thing in respect of that.
It's taken a long while, isn't it? And I think it was a conversation you had with Mary Jo Fowler on Twitter. It was about the lawyers and things like that. Maybe why the release notes aren't as clear as they should be.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, I really feel quite strongly that good customer service shouldn't be bound by lawyers trying to protect themselves. Just be open and honest with your customers, because that's how you gain their trust. But I think with contracts in place, I mean, you see what went wrong with the Samsung Note. When they all having issues with batteries, you've got suppliers that maybe you want to sue them, or you want to refuse to pay bills because the batteries that they're supplied aren't working as expected. So I understand there is lots of legal implications of what you can and can't say, but like I say, these aren't cheap devices. If there's a problem with the reason why I'm really tainted in terms of buying Surface products, I wouldn't want to be in a position where I spend £2,500 on a Surface Studio to have problems with it and not be able to get any kind of open and honest dialogue going.
Exactly. I mean, in this case, they knew that there was a problem. They should have simply just quietly exchanged them until the problem was fixed, because the uproar it's caused is, it's. I mean, I hear it from other people that the Surface brand is a little bit tainted now in that regard. It's a one where people say, "Oh, that's the one with the battery issues," and that's not a story you want out there, really.
No, exactly, and this is one of the reasons that I finally took the plunge and switched to the iPhone, because I've been waiting for the Surface phone, but I just got to that point where I just thought, actually, even if there is a Surface phone, do I really want to buy it? Do I really trust them? And the answer was no.
You've changed.
I have. Yeah. Actually, I'm just checking on the shipping of my MacBook, actually.
Yeah, you have, chat. If we could play this podcast back to Jason from on TDL Mobile in 2007 or whatever it was, you wouldn't be speaking to yourself.
No, yes, no, I certainly
No,
wouldn't.
but you're absolutely right. When you're paying 80 quid for a tablet, for a cheap tablet like the Lynx ones, okay, if it has an issue, you've paid 80 quid. You're paying £3 grand, it's a different story.
Yes, yeah,
And that's why people look at other devices. I know, Richard, you posted your review of the Dell XPS.
Yeah.
I know you talked about it last week, but it's a nice looking laptop. I'm looking at a 15 in front of me now, but that 13 looks nice.
It's working very well actually, but battery life has stayed. I gather reading the support for performance for the first few weeks of ownership, the battery life does fluctuate, and it does seem to be stable now around sort of 13 to 14 hours, which is, well, it weighs nothing. It's fabulous, really. I'm very impressed so far.
Yeah, and I know, Jason, when you look for your next device, that's the kind of thing you'd look at because of the surface issues.
yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I posted my review of the Lenovo Yoga Book, which I'm liking. The only issue I found is, I guess it's got a hot bag syndrome.
Oh, no,
really? Oh no.
Yeah, so not all the time, but I've just powered this on now after not using it since about 4 o'clock, and the bag felt warm, and I just fired it up and it wouldn't come on, and so I had to hold the power button to turn it off, but it was warm, and it's probably used, I don't know, 10% of the battery, something like that, 20%. So these issues are obviously difficult, especially on these small devices, perhaps where you can. There's not a lot of cooling, there's no fans on this or whatever, so hot bag issue is still a thing.
Mm.
That was the Surface Pro 4, wasn't it? That was the hot bag issue.
And the Surface Book.
Yes.
And I think even some Surface Pro 3s originally had very similar problems. Although I wonder whether that was actually on some of the preview builds rather than actual production builds. But yeah, I mean, Windows in general. I mean, if we go back 10 years, sleep used to be a massive problem, didn't it, on Windows PCs and particularly laptops? Would it go to sleep, or would it even wake up from hibernation? Things have really, really improved. I mean, we're light years ahead of where we were, but it still has that problem. If a device driver that's been updated doesn't quite suspend properly, then the device can't get into that deep sleep state. And if you have literally just closed your laptop and shoved it in a bag, things have improved to the point where we do take it for granted. I don't shut my Surface Pro 3 down. I just switch it off and shove it in my bag and drive home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this Lenovo is so nice, and it's so tablet-like. You definitely expect that kind of experience. It's not like a big laptop where you feel the need to shut it down or anything like that. It's a tablet, so you just literally shut the lid. In fact, the other day I noticed what it was doing. It would never go to sleep, and it would never even go to a reduced power mode. The screen would just stayed on, and a reboot sorted it, but I hadn't noticed it because the battery's so good on it that even if it stays on, the screen goes off when you close it, but it was actually still awake, if you know what I mean. It's not going into a sleep mode. But because the battery's so good on it, it can stay on doing that all night, and the battery loses, 20-30%. So if it was like a Surface, you would lose maybe 80% of your battery in that time. So it'd be a big issue. With this, it wasn't a big problem. It's funny when I ran the power config report, and you could see that the power config report, it updates it periodically. I think it's every 10 minutes or so, isn't it, while it's active? Well, there was 40 odd hours of that every 10 minutes. So the battery config report was a massive long thing I had to scroll right down to have a look at, because this had been on for 3 days without powering down at all. So every 10 minutes it'd be writing that battery report. So a reboot sorted it, no problem. But it's funny, I picked it up just now, and it felt warm. It wasn't red hot, but it was definitely warm, and like I said, it wouldn't come back on. So hopefully a firmware, BIOS update, driver update will fix that problem. And but it's a very nice device. I do enjoy using it, and I've done a few blog posts with it in the evenings now, with it sat on my knee, and it's good for writing. Not even amazing that a device, this little thin device like that, you can do a blog post on what you can, and it's a lot better than typing on glass as well. So it's not as good as a keyboard, better than the original Surface keyboard, Not as good as Surface Pro keyboard now, but better than typing on glass, definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, and that reminds me, we're going to finish off now, but talking about gadgets and toys and everything, I want to resurrect the awards show. We'll do another awards show at Christmas, so I think we need listeners to send in some ideas for that. So we've got a couple of options. We can go, listeners can send in what their top gadget devices of the year, and then we'll whittle it down and do a poll, or you can send your anecdotes in and we'll just talk about them on the review show. So anyway, so drop me an email in at lifestyle.com or get us on Twitter at Iron Stickson and let us know what you think. Should we do a full awards show and hand some awards out, or do you want to just send in your anecdotes of what your favourite devices have been of 2016? Mine obviously is my coffee machine, but I'll discount that one for that.
Yeah. Mine's obviously iPhone 7. So.
Oh yeah, yours is yeah. If only young Jason could hear himself now.
And I think mine might be my old Atari VCS 2600 that I pulled out of the loft a while ago, which is amazing. Still works after 20, 30 years.
Oh, review. Long-term review.
That's a long-term review. Combat is magnificent. It's still the best game in the world ever.
Well, that's great, Lisa. I love getting stuff like that, and they still work. Well, we'll leave you with your old technology. I think Gary might be back next week, but we'll certainly have you back on the show again, Richard. And I know you've got some more blog posts. I think you've even got a little field assignment coming up soon.
Yes, I have. Yes, hopefully so. But yes, my two upcoming posts is one around the Quiet PC, which is a great little media center machine, and the other one, how to destroy a Mac Mini in 2 easy steps. Are my two things.
That sounds expensive rather than more than anything else.
It involved a screwdriver, an SSD, and some brute force that shouldn't have been applied to a bit that it was applied to.
So without spoiling review, is the machine dead?
The Mac Mini, yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to break out my soldering iron. Basically, you're supposed to unplug a fan, and I unplugged the fan with, shall we say, extreme prejudice, and the fan no longer works, which means the Mac Mini itself is dead. But it was only a cheap one I picked up from eBay, so it's not like a very expensive device. But yes, it's the internals are definitely not designed to be fiddled with by ham-fisted gorillas like myself, without a doubt.
Jason won't be speaking to you now because you damaged him. He's been loving Apple.
If I had a disturbance in the force or something bad just happened, that was me.
Well, we'll let you get back to your Atari. Sounds like you've been better looked at than your Apple, but really do appreciate you joining and filling for Gary this week. And like I said, we'll definitely get you back on before the end of the year. We've got some stuff coming up, and I know you've got some blog posts coming up. So where can we follow you?
You can find me obviously on the digitallifestyle.com and Richard_Speed on Twitter.
Excellent stuff. And Jace, where can we find you talking about with Apple devices?
You can find me on Twitter at DatabaseJace.
Excellent. Well, great stuff. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you all next week.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.